Welcome back, everyone. So we all know that dating can be difficult to begin with, but then you throw in a pandemic into the mix, and boy, it sometimes can just seem impossible. So social situations now, of course, have been extremely limited. Lockdowns make it even harder to get out there and meet different people. But that doesn't mean that all hope is lost. And joining us now with some tips for dating during this pandemic and this challenging time, Dr. Jaime Zuckerman. So good morning, Jaime. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Okay,
so we're going to start with the obvious question here. Just how much has COVID really impacted dating out there today?
Significantly. It's completely disrupted the flow of how we view dating in general and how we've dated for many years.
So as we slowly get back to normal, what are some of the challenges that people are facing as they re-socialize? So the socialization, if you will, now with others is really not the way it was before. I mean, it was so much more casual. Yeah. There were a lot less concerns when you get out there meeting people. It's a totally different atmosphere now.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing, like I said, it's disrupted our flow. When people go and start dating again and try to kind of go back to normal, the focus is going to be on remaining safe because of COVID. The focus isn't necessarily going to be on your date or on dating. It's going to be, I need to stay safe because of COVID and also date. Right. So people are fearful of getting sick. There's not as many places to go. People can't necessarily eat indoors. So you're on a date in the freezing cold, sitting outside. It's very hard to focus on the other person. So there's a lot of kind of extraneous variables at play that weren't there prior to this.
You know, it sometimes can be already a stressful situation when you're trying to meet new people and date and put yourself out there. And now you're adding some stresses with trying to remain safe while you're doing it. So what, if you are putting yourself back into the mix and back out there, what are some ways to kind of keep yourself safe during this dating atmosphere that we have now?
Sure. So obviously, we still want to wear our masks and as much as we possibly can socially distance ourselves. So things like, unfortunately in the cold, but sitting outside, going for walks, still, kind of online dating is even a bigger thing now. So, people are going on first dates on Zoom, watching movies together on Zoom. So things like that can kind of keep you safe. And ask questions. You want to know, is the person you're dating maintaining social distancing when they're not with you? Are they wearing their mask? Are they having friends over? Those are important and necessary questions to ask.
Right, and questions that you have a right to ask if you're, spending some time with that person. Okay, so what tips might you suggest for people who are seeking love this Valentine's Day? What, obviously there are going to be some people that, are perhaps, being negative about this because they don't want to put themselves out there because it's just the challenges are too great. Well, in their minds, they might perceive that, or spin it that way. But what are some things that people can do to kind of maybe have a positive outlook when they approach dating during this time?
I think the biggest thing is to manage your expectations and to make sure that your expectations are appropriate to this crazy context that we're living in right now. It may take a little bit longer to get to know somebody right now because of the limitations that are up, and to remind yourself it's not a reflection on you or your ability to date. It's that, we're kind of in a very difficult time right now. So manage your expectations. You want to remain safe. That's the most important thing. And just take your time with this and remember that every single person involved in this right now is on some level anxious. And so if you feel anxious going into this, keep in mind the other person probably feels equally, if not more, as anxious. And I always tell people when they're dating, anxiety oftentimes is misinterpreted. A lot of times it's excitement and we misinterpret it as anxiety. So going into dating in the pandemic, a certain level of anxiety is going to be normal, and maybe even a little bit more right now because of COVID.
Yeah, try to take the pressure off a little bit, maybe, just
yes.
And those managing the expectations, great advice there. So where can people go for more information, when we're dealing with this right now?
So I post frequently on this on my Instagram page, Dr. Z_psychologist, especially with Valentine's Day coming up. I post a lot of tips about dating, how to approach it, and my website, drjaimezuckerman.com.
All right, Dr. Zuckerman. Jaime, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. A lot of good information there, and as people kind of trying to take the edge off on this Valentine's Day, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, if you're not celebrating Valentine's Day,